Hey everyone, Afrodo Reviews here, and on this channel I help you decide, is that book worth reading over second breakfast, or does it deserve the fiery pits of Mount Doom? Today we have another booktube tag. See? Told you guys I was trying to do more of these. But this one is a unique booktube tab created by a smaller booktube creator known as Devours. Devours is a newer channel on this, but I do recommend checking her out. She's a decent booktuber that started up. She doesn't have too many in her catalog at the moment, but she is rising. But she created a Devouring Book Tag, where yours truly was also tagged in it. So I decided to, check it out. Seems like fun to do, so let's do it. By the way, link to her channel down below, as well as a link to any channel I mentioned further on in the video. But yeah, with that being said, let's get right into this book tag. Why wait? Question 1. Do I remove the dust covers while reading, or leave them on, or do I discard them altogether? Personally, I leave dust covers on while I'm reading. It's just an example because it's the closest book I have. But even though dust covers kind of bother me a little, because the bad ones will sit there and constantly fall off while I'm reading, I do like that I can just open and kind of do that if I don't have my bookmark nearby, and not lose my place. And the good dust covers actually do stay on while you're reading, and they don't sit there and come off the entire time. However, that being said, if they do bother me enough, if they keep sliding off or make the book hard to hold, or they keep getting in the way while I'm trying to close, I do take them off and toss them to the side. And I do keep them in general, because, most books nowadays, look at that. It's not that exciting without the dust cover. But yeah, that's my answer. Question 2. Do I use bookmarks, or do I just use whatever I have on hand? Or do I dog ear my books? If you dog ear your books, I'm afraid I can never talk to you again. I'm just putting that out there. As you can see, I actually prefer to use bookmarks. Generally, I try to use a bookmark more fitting to the size of the book. I have smaller ones, but then I have bigger ones. Now, that being said, if I can't find a bookmark and it doesn't have a dust cover, I will grab whatever is nearby just to hold it in there for the moment till I can get one from where I left it. But yeah, no, I personally prefer bookmarks. Question 3. Do I prefer physical books, audiobooks, or ebooks? Physical, by and large. I have like a mental block. I cannot read ebooks nearly as easily as I can read physical books. And while I have been trying to get over that, I've definitely been reading a lot more ebooks this time around. It is more of a case of learning it for convenience rather than anything else. When it comes to the choice, I 100% prefer ebook. I 100% prefer physical books. I prefer to hold my books in my hand as I read and flip through the pages. I don't know, it's just... maybe it just grounds me while I'm reading, or it's just... again, I don't know. But that is just the reason I prefer it. It's so much easier for me to read physical books than it is trying to struggle through an ebook. And to be honest, I barely use audiobooks. I probably should, though. It would be nice to have like an audiobook playing while I do something else. But my mind drifts way too easily, and I know for a fact that if I use audiobooks, that I'll be doing something, and then I'll realize, oh wait, I'm like 20 chapters in, and I have not retained a single bit of information it said to me. Question number 4. Do I prefer hardcover or paperback when reading physical books? Now this is a tough question. I personally love hardcover the most for its aesthetics. If I could have an entire bookshelf filled with hardcover, I would. That being said, I do find paperbacks easier to handle while I'm reading. For me, paperbacks are just easy that I can just crack open and start reading, but with hardcover, sometimes they're a lot more unyieldy. Sometimes, I know they're supposed to hold together a lot easier than paperbacks, but I've always had a lot more issue with hardcovers and the glue for the bindings coming up much faster than anything on paperback. So that's another reason that I tend to read more paperbacks or buy them more often. But I guess if we're okay, on pure aesthetics, hardcover. I guess in a more physical, practical sense, softcover. Question number 5. Do I have a favorite time of the day to read? I guess at night. I mean, I'm kind of a night owl. When it goes night, for some reason, I just get way better at doing everything from writing, reading, cooking, watching my shows. Just in general, for some reason, night seems to kick in that internal instinct where it's like, let's do this. So, night, but I can read any time of the day, really. Question number 6. Do I annotate my books? Kinda. When I write notes on my books, I tend to do it on a separate piece of paper, typically a notebook or a notepad that I have nearby. I don't like writing in the books themselves, and it hurts my soul if I ever have to. So, I guess in a sense, I do annotate my books, but not in the traditional way. Because when I write those notes, I'll write a page number this, chapter this. Here's that note. Or, like one of my really bad books, when I use those tabs, I'll even list the tab number. Yes, but not the traditional way. Question 7. What are some book and reading related stereotypes you grew up believing, but no longer believe are true? I don't know. I guess the only thing I really grew up with is like reading is really nerdy, but to me that was never really a turnoff. I was a nerdy guy, so yeah, I did that. Even when I was in football, I didn't really stop reading. I just read less because I had practice. But yeah, apart from that, I'm not sure I really had any major stereotypes I believed in. Because I've been reading since I was in elementary school, so yeah, I'm sorry, I don't really got an answer for this one. Question number 8. Does my gender or gender identity or the associated stereotypes affect your reading choices? I guess kind of. I'm fully aware that when I go into a book that's male on male romance or female on female romance, I'm not gonna necessarily enjoy it as much as if I was, female and lesbian or gay, because it's not really aiming at anything that I personally can experience. I don't necessarily turn it away. As you can see, I've read plenty of both. But it's just one of those, I'm well aware that I'm probably not going to enjoy this as much as someone who does identify as those. So, I guess in a sense it does a little, but I do try to keep an open mind and I do read into those. It's just, I guess that's all I got. Question 9. Do you watch films and TV shows based off the books? Do you watch them before reading the book or after? Okay, so I do watch them. However, if I do watch them, I prefer to watch it first and then read the book. And that's because 90% of the time, the book is better. And when I read the book first and then watch the TV show or the movie, my only thought while I'm watching is, that didn't happen in the book. Why did they change that from that? That was much better. You're doing what with what? Where's this character? He was my favorite. They make a lot of changes, and I can only focus on the differences, rather than appreciating both art forms in their own way. That being said, I'm also glad that, a perfect example for me is Aragon. When I first watched the Aragon movie, I loved it, because I hadn't read the book. When I read the book and realized how much better it was and how unfaithful an adaptation was the Aragon movie is, I hated it from then on. So that's why I prefer to watch or read first and then go into the books. And also why I don't necessarily get excited when a book I've read and loved turns out that it's getting an adaptation. And I'm like, I've seen how this goes too often. Question 10. Do you engage with fan labor? Have you ever sought out the source material after encountering it at fan labor? Now, I'm guessing what this means is fan fiction. It's been a bit since I actually watched the video this was. But yes, I have. I actually used to write a lot of my own fan fiction back in high school. Namely Mass Effect, and I did a One Piece Steven Universe crossover a while back. But I did write a lot of fan fiction. And vice versa, I also consumed a lot of fan fiction of just various things. But I did. I don't think there was ever a time when I read the fan fiction first and then sought it out. I guess, really. I can't think of anything where I watched Okay, maybe. Now that I think about it, maybe. Does red versus blue count? Because if that counts, technically I experienced that first before I had a full experience with Halo. So, maybe? Question 11. Has watching BookTube or being a BookTube creator affected my reading preferences? Not completely. I will say that it has changed how I read, as opposed to what I would normally do, which I would just take whatever book sounds most interesting. I found that it's easier for me to create a specific theme that I'm going to do for that month and focus on that. And while sometimes it doesn't work out, as you can tell by my mystery novel month, because just almost every book went into Mount Doom. Actually, I think every book did go into Mount Doom. Point is, mystery novel, like, I'll do that so I can, go outside my typical genre, because if I had a choice, I'd probably just stay fully in sci-fi fantasy forever. But I do like reading other works. And I do like that this channel is causing me to branch outside my things. There are a couple works that I probably would have never have ever read had I not had this channel, and I ended up liking. But there are also stuff that I probably wouldn't have read that I didn't like at all. Namely speaking, anything under the bad book category. Although, I can blame Rukari for the melancholy magic, at least. How dare she. But yeah, so I guess it has technically changed my reading preferences, but I wouldn't say for the worse. And since that's the last question, I'll end this video by tagging a couple booktubers that I know that might enjoy doing this tag itself. I'm not terribly invested. I'm not terribly deep in the tag lore of booktube, so if you've already done this by the time this video goes up, or you've already done a tag like this, I apologize, but a couple of the channels I'll tag for the sake of it is, I'll tag David Book Review, if this seems like something he'd enjoy doing. I'll tag, who else can I tag? I can't keep tagging the same people over and over again. Yeah, I'll just stick with those for now. That's the only ones I can think of. A couple of the people I would have tagged, I don't think are currently making videos. I think they're on hiatus at the very least. So I just don't want to tag the same people over and over again. Apart from the fact that it might just annoy them. It's just one of those. I mean, yeah, imagine if I was just tagging the same people over and over again. Like, okay, just to prove a point, I'll tag T.A. Summers. I'll probably tag a couple I normally do in my description down below. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really have much else to say. So just remember, with every book comes an adventure. And every adventure is worth having. Even the bad ones.